Hello, dear friends, and welcome back to the Angel Room. I am so grateful that you're here with me today. This space is where we gather to open our hearts, to connect with the divine, and to remember that we are never truly alone. Today's episode is a very special one because we are going to explore a question that stirs something deep in many seekers. And that question is, are you a spiritual channel? I'll address that in a moment. First, a special hello to my listeners in Dar es Salaam, Tasmania. Thank you for being here and supporting my podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like and subscribe. It helps other people to find me easier, and I so appreciate it. Are you a spiritual channel? Take a few moments to let those words settle in your heart. You may already feel a stirring, a sense of curiosity, or even a recognition. Perhaps you have felt messages come through you, or maybe you've sensed that your intuition flows differently from others. This episode is for you. First, let's pause together. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale gently. Imagine a golden light surrounding you, filling a room where you are. And as you listen today, allow this light to soften your mind and open your heart. Being a spiritual channel is not something reserved for chosen few. It's not about titles or special abilities. It is, at its core, about being open to divine wisdom and allowing that wisdom to flow through you in service to love. So let's begin with the basics. What is a spiritual channel? It's someone who serves as a bridge between the physical world and the higher realms. Through intuition, vision, feeling, or knowing, a channel receives guidance from angels, spirit guides, or even from the soul itself, and then shares it in ways that inspire or heal others. They also get messages from ascended masters and sometimes from Mother Mary or God. This can look very different for different people. Some channels hear words in their mind as though someone is gently whispering. Others see images or symbols that hold meaning for them, and some feel sensations in their body that carry messages, and others simply know with a deep certainty that comes from beyond the logical mind. If you have ever spoken words of comfort that felt like they came from somewhere beyond you, or written in a journal and found wisdom spilling onto the page that surprised you, you may already be a channel without even realizing it. So, how do you know if you are a spiritual channel? Let me share some signs. As I go through these, notice which ones resonate with you. You feel called to share wisdom that feels larger than your own experiences. People often tell you that your words or presence bring them peace. You sometimes say or write things and later wonder, where did that come from? Because it feels inspired. You experience dreams or visions that later prove meaningful. You feel a strong connection to angels, guides, or the divine. You are deeply empathetic and can feel what others need, sometimes before they even speak it. You feel pulled to create, whether that's through speaking, writing, art, music, and that creativity feels guided. If any of these sound familiar, it may be that you are a channel, even if you have not put that name to it. So there is a purpose to channeling, and it's important to remember that channeling is not about ego. Ego is the doorway to the dark. It's not about being special or superior. The purpose of channeling is always love. It is a gift from God, and it's about becoming a vessel for divine compassion and insight so that healing and hope can flow into the world. And we need all of it we can get right now. Think of yourself as a flute. The flute does not create the music. The breath moving through the flute does. But without the flute, the music could not be heard. In the same way, the divine moves through you, creating harmony that can touch other lives. When you understand channeling in this way, it becomes less intimidating and more natural. You are simply allowing the love of spirit to move through you in the unique way that your soul was designed to share it. So try not to compare yourself to others and how they do it. Let's take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, have there been times when I felt something greater moving through me? Perhaps in a conversation, in a piece of writing, in a prayer, or just in a sudden knowing. Notice what comes to mind. That memory is a clue. It's showing you how spirit is already working through you. There are some common blocks to channeling. Many people resist the idea that they could be a channel. I did for years. I wanted nothing to do with it. I knew at 18 that I was supposed to do it, didn't want anything to do with it. Let's talk about why people might resist labeling themselves as a channel. Self-doubt. You might think that was just my imagination, or I'm making this up. Fear of judgment. You may worry what others will think if you claim to receive guidance. Control. Channeling requires surrender, and that can feel vulnerable. Unworthiness. Some people believe they are not spiritual enough, pure enough, or wise enough to be a channel. If you feel any of these, know that you are not alone. Every channel has faced these kind of doubts, but the truth is that spirit chooses vessels, not because they're perfect, but because they are willing. So I want to share a story with you about a woman named Anna. Anna was a nurse who often comforted patients in their final hours. She noticed that words would rise within her, words that soothed them and eased their fear. Families would tell her, "How did you know exactly what to say? It felt like my mother needed to hear that." At first, Anna dismissed it as coincidence. But one evening, after a particularly moving experience, she sat quietly in prayer and asked, "God, was that you speaking through me?" She felt warmth flood her chest and tears filled her eyes. From that moment, she embraced that she was a channel of divine comfort. Anna did not become a professional medium or psychic. She continued her nursing, but now with a deep awareness that she was never working alone. She was co-serving with the divine. Her story reminds us that channeling can show up in everyday life. It is not always about dramatic messages or mystical trances. Sometimes it is simply the flow of love through your words, presence, or touch. So I'm going to share a little story from my life with you about this topic. I, for years, would not call myself a medium, didn't call myself a channel. I would admit I'm a sensitive. I'm just a sensitive. And so this is an example of how that worked. I had an investigative team. We would go and examine paranormal activity and we would release spirits who were trapped, just release them. And we had something going on at a house and all the equipment was set up and the whole team was there. And I heard a woman humming a melody. And I said, "Do you guys hear that humming?" They're like, "No." And I hummed it. And they're like, "I don't hear that." And then later we listened to the recording and you could hear another voice, another female voice humming that melody. And then I said, "Did you hear that?" And then I hummed the melody. Then they could hear it. So sometimes on recording, you can get messages you don't hear with your ears. But I heard it and I went, "Oh, it's just because I'm a sensitive." There were so many circumstances, things like that, that I experienced that other people didn't. And still, I was resistant to calling myself a channel or a medium or anything like that. So we all can go through this. It's okay. So, how to invite channeling? If you're interested in being one and you're not having the experiences yet, how do you begin to open yourself as a spiritual channel? Here are some steps you can take. Create stillness. Find time each day to sit quietly, breathe deeply, and just open your heart. Guidance often comes in the spaces where your mind is calm. And in modern day life, we don't have enough of that. There's the TV and radio and iPhones and computers and something filling the void and that's not good for receiving information. Set an intention. Say something like, I am willing to be a channel of love and truth. I invite spirit to flow through me. Listen and notice. Pay attention to the thoughts, the feelings, and impressions that arise. Do not dismiss them too quickly. Just trust. Practice writing. Journaling is a powerful tool. I talk about it on so many episodes because it is so powerful. Ask a question and then write whatever flows, whatever you come. Don't judge it, don't edit it, just write it. You may be surprised at the wisdom that appears. Trust. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Trust is the soil in which channeling grows. Here's a journaling prompt that you can use after this episode. And if you want to write in your journal and get started with this, something like, Dear Spirit, what message do you want to share with me today? And if you'd rather talk with your angels, angels, what message would you like to share with me? Jesus, what message? Mother Mary, what message? God, whatever divine presence you wish to channel. Write without stopping, without censoring. Let the words come, even if they feel simple, even if they feel silly. Don't judge it. That's how people end up editing out the things that are most important. Later, read them back and notice if there's a thread of wisdom that feels bigger than you. Things that made sense later, once time and went by and things unfolded. This is just a little reflection on service for you. Being a channel is not just for your own growth, it is also for service. The love that flows through you is meant to bless others. This does not mean you have to stand on a stage or write a book. Sometimes it means offering a kind word to a friend or stranger, sharing a prayer or a kind word with a stranger, creating beauty in your home, doing something nice for a neighbor. Every time you allow divine love to flow through you, you are channeling. Every time you share that love, you are fulfilling your purpose. Here's another real life story for you, and I call it Michael's gift of writing. Michael was a retired teacher who began journaling in his 70s, and he thought he was simply reflecting on his life. But soon his journal entries shifted, and he would start writing, and whole paragraphs of wisdom would just pour out. Guidance about forgiveness, healing, and love. And when he read them later, he barely remembered writing them. At his daughter's suggestion, he began sharing those messages with his family. His words became a source of encouragement for everyone around him. Eventually, he self-published a small book of reflections which touched countless people. Michael realized that he had been a spiritual channel all along. He simply needed to give the words space to flow. And it brings to mind an experience I had when I was training with Suzanne Wilson to be a medium. And she had me do automatic writing. And I said, Oh, I've tried that. I'm not good at it. I never get anything of value. And she goes, Well, let's just give it a try. So I started writing and I showed it to her. I read it. I'm like, see, none of this makes any sense. And she says, Ivory, that's all about my life. That's about this, and that's about my dog, and that's about my health, her husband's health, and all the things. And I was just flabbergasted's the best word to put it because it never occurred to me the messages would be for other people through me because I hadn't tried that. So sometimes when you get these messages and you don't know where they came from, they don't make sense to you, share them with someone you're moved to share them with. There might be for them. It happens all the time in mediumship sessions. Here are some affirmations, if you like those, that you can carry with you as you reflect on whether you are a spiritual channel. I am open to being a vessel of divine love. Guidance flows to me and through me with ease. I trust the wisdom that arises in stillness. I am worthy of serving as a bridge between heaven and earth. My words, actions, and presence are channels of peace. As always, change those, write them to feel correct and comfortable for yourself. And it's just to reassure yourself that you can do this. As we close today, I want to remind you that you don't have to force channeling. Nothing works well when you try to force it. You don't have to be perfect or reach a certain spiritual level to do it. Channeling is already happening whenever love flows through you. If you feel called to explore this more deeply, simply begin with curiosity. Ask for guidance. Notice what arises. Keep a journal. Trust your heart. Over time, you may be amazed to discover that you have been a spiritual channel all along. You probably thought it would look or feel different than it is. Remember, you are never alone. Your angels, your guides, God, the divine walk with you, ready to support and inspire you. Your only task is to stay open, willing, and filled with love. Let's end with a breath together. Inhale deeply, imagining light filling your heart. Exhale, releasing doubt. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, I am open. I am ready. I am a channel of love. Carry that affirmation with you this week and notice how Spirit begins to speak through you. They hear you when you say these things, they hear you say you're ready. Thank you for spending this time with me in the angel room. Tune in next Sunday when the topic will be how to explain being an empath. Obviously, to people who aren't empaths. Until then, may your angels surround you. May your angels protect you every moment, every day of your life. I'll see you next week.